Trending is brought to you by the Bahamas Adventist Book and Nutrition Center, located on Tonic Williams Darling Highway.
Hey guys, welcome back to Young and Trending here on Word SPC 88.3 FM, where we aim to be bold, be true, and be heard. I'm Tyla.
And I'm Pastah Nassah.
And in studio today, we have one of my great friends. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the people.
All right, so my name is Joshua. I'm no stranger to this space. For those of you, you know I'm no stranger to this space. Yeah.
The space of what? Because the people don't know you.
This is radio, that's right.
Yeah, this is radio, right? This is radio. Totally not TV. This is radio. So, yeah.
Okay.
Welcome.
Awesome.
Welcome.
So, I guess as we get to, what is our topic? Today, our topic is the pursuit of purpose.
Yeah.
And we've had several young professionals come on and talk about their career paths and journeys, also kind of tying that into how did they know this is what they wanted to do? Do they feel like they found their purpose? And just giving insights into different avenues that you can take if you're looking to start your career or switch paths, or you're still in high school and you want to know what's really out there. Or what is there in the Bahamas that I can do?
Right.
So I guess we'll start off by you telling us a little bit about yourself, where you went to school.
Who is Josh?
Who is Josh?
Who is Josh, man?
Okay, Josh. Right now, Josh is an energetic 23. 23? Wow.
I hope so.
23-year-old, full of life, loves to pursue his dreams, loves to pursue his passions, and just do whatever he can to get in the way, but at the same time, be a help to people. That's everything in my life revolves around that. So yeah.
Good. Let's probably go back to the beginning. Where did Josh go to school? Where did he grow up? Church he attended. What was little Josh like?
Did you attend church?
Yeah,
Absolutely. I had no choice in the matter, as a matter of fact.
How come you didn't have no church?
Well, I'm what the church people call a PK.
PK. Oh, we heard that before.
I think so.
It's a pastor's kid. So I lived, breathe, eat, sleep, church all of my life.
Relatable.
Wow.
And that went over to school, Bahamas Academy, Adventist colleges. I actually spent the first 7 years of my life in Luther. So
Really?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, big up Elutra.
Big up Luther all day. Yeah, so we came to Nassau when I was in about grade 2, and then grade 2 straight to grade 12, Bahamas Academy.
Okay.
Go Stars, that good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay, stars. Okay.
Go
Yeah, man.
PA.
And right after that, I went to what they call a little beacon on the hill in Mandeville, Jamaica.
Jamaica. NCU.
At CU, Northern Caribbean University.
All right. Yeah.
So I spent 2.5 years there. Then the pandemic came. After COVID, I felt that God called me to Oakwood University
Oakwood
in Alabama. Yes, so I did my last year and a half at
moving.
Oakwood. Yeah, so I up and down. Yeah.
Man, I'm curious. Did one thing, you had a full Christian education.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you two things. What impact did Christian education have on you? What impact did it have on your life growing up into now this young man? And two, did all this moving around have an impact on you as well?
Well, the first question, I think that Christian education was just confirmation and validation of what I learned at home and at church. Because those things, those values you learn at home and church and school was just validation for me.
It was like reinforcement.
Yes, reinforcement.
Right.
Any other person who didn't grow up in a pastor's home, church and school would be that confirmation. Me, it was at home when I looking in my daddy face Saturday and hearing the same thing. So
You're getting the sermon first.
First, exactly. So I think that it played a huge role, and I am honestly, I could look back now and say it, but I am grateful for it. Absolutely grateful.
Yeah.
Maybe not then. You might have been like,
Yeah. Understandable.
That's interesting, I'm saying that's interesting because then some people, and we've asked this question to other pastors' kids too. Some people will look at the pastor's kid and think that they in the perfect situation, the perfect scenario, everything is perfect because they getting the word straight from the mountain, and then they have all the right environment around them, and so that means the child must also be perfect. Was that your experience too? That you had just this perfect upbringing and
I mean, growing up, you realize, I don't know if I should call it a stereotype, but you realize
you say that.
you realize what was expected of you, and it was
Uh-huh.
always interesting, especially for people to see the human side of the family
Right.
firsthand. For example, if we invite people over for lunch, we eat, we fellowship, whatever,
yeah.
and it's 4 o'clock, I mean, as a child, I run around, my mommy saying, Joshua, don't do that. And they're like, oh my goodness, the pastor, what she telling? She giving me a little slap, a little tap, sorry. And then to see my daddy on the sofa, tie halfway down, he just finished eating, knockout sleeping. Like, oh my goodness, I thought he would be
In Bible study.
in Bible study, getting ready for next week. Oh, he's asleep after church, he's crushed after church too. So it's always interesting to see stuff like that for people to see firsthand that, hey, we humans too. So
Real people. Okay,
And
cool.
what was the second question?
Yeah, about moving around.
Oh, moving around.
Yeah.
Oh, in terms of church or in terms of
Just in churches and just in schools, locations.
Okay.
All that.
but location, moving from Eleuthera, like I said, I was 7. I didn't understand much.
Okay.
I just knew that when we came off the plane, I saw more lights, and that was exciting. That was exciting to me.
Right.
So that aspect, it didn't affect me. Now churches, I hated. I absolutely hated the moving around, the bouncing around.
Yeah.
And in the Seventh Day Adventist system, typically it's 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
They try to stick to it, and then you move.
Right. Different district. Right.
And if I could come, and I have a good memory, came to Nassau, it was Philadelphia, then Berea, then New Anglican, then Good News, then Breath of Life. And then at that time I was 16, and I was like 5, 6 churches. I say, oh, I'm tired of this. But what I loved about my parents is that they gave me the freedom. They say, Josh, when you 16, you won't go to a separate church on top. Go ahead. We'll drop you. We'll find a way. And so, that's why I ended up at my current church, Johnson Park. Go Jets,
Okay.
So, I definitely didn't like it because, you form friendships and you form bonds. And as kids, sometimes parents might get adjusted quickly, but sometimes it takes 3 to 4 years for you to
Adjust.
Yeah.
adjust and get comfortable.
Right.
And
Settle in.
by the time you get comfortable, like, nope, next church.
Gee.
Yeah, so that's something I had to go through, but I guess that's just the reality of being a part of it.
Wow. And so some of the people who listening, they may not even know that, PK they go through real adjustments as well.
Absolutely.
They ain't robots and they ain't just these perfect little angels from heaven where nothing seems to faze them. They have emotions, and so that's good to have real people behind the scenes who could come and that say, hey man, we human too.
Exactly.
So now I want to kind of transition us into talking about your career and career development. Like you said at the beginning, you're no stranger to this space. And I know you were meaning radio/television,
Right.
but also like literally this space. 'Cause
Right.
I remember we were in school, like, doing summer internships at the conference and all that stuff. So tell us what you do, what your degree is in, and then I guess your journey through that or to where you are right now.
Okay, so currently I'm a multimedia journalist. So I do broadcast news for television as well as social media. Now, it didn't start with journalism, so let's go back. Of course, being a PK, you're around the office, you stick in your head in places it shouldn't be. You're just being a nuisance. So
Oh man.
I think about from the age of like 9, 10, my daddy helped out with like the conference media department, stuff like that. So I just always be around, always wanting to do things. Even if I wasn't doing anything, just sitting there looking or whatever.
Right.
And I remember we had a 10 crusade with, I believe it was Pastor Morgan.
Okay, Claudius Morgan.
Yes, and at the time, Pastor Gordon was in charge at the Conference Terms and Media.
Communication.
Right, helped build this place, this radio
Literally.
station. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think someone didn't come that night to work the camera, and he looked at me and said, "Josh, go up on camera 3." I said, "Me?" He said, "Yeah, go up on camera 3." So here am I walking to the camera. I remember they had to put a little something for me to step on just to be able to see. And I'm there, and I'm having the time of my life, not doing nothing correctly, but having the time of my life. And I'm like, okay, I like this. I like media. And
Nice.
yes, over the years, it has progressed, and I began to learn more in terms of cameras and just video production, audio production,
Right.
stuff like that. You know,
Right,
we had the little camera club at BA. It was what it was at the time. You know, we thought we were the professionals, but
The media club.
yeah,
Oh my
you know, it had 3
gosh.
sections. You know, you had videography,
photography,
and I think the yearbook,
yes.
which we never did our senior
We-
year. So yeah,
Sorry.
that's that. That's that.
Oh,
But yeah, all of that. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to go to school. I'm ready, whatever. So Joshua goes to NCU, and of course, NCU's in Mandeville, Jamaica. For those who don't know, and when I got there, it was a shock for me.
oh,
You know, there's this saying, well, oh, you know, it's good to be, you know, a big fish in a little tank.
oh.
But when you jump in that ocean and you see the other fish out there, and you're like, okay,
Okay.
you're not as good as you thought you were. So
Yeah.
I'd say the first year and a half, I took it in stride. I learned from others. I was pretty involved or whatever. And full transparency moment here. So like my second year, I'm like, is this what I really want to do? And I think as young professionals, we have to be real with ourselves. We have to realize when we're falling out of love with something and also being real about it. I'm looking like, hey, this market is saturated.
Okay.
Like when it comes to videography, photography, you need 2 things to be successful. You could have either or both. You could be really, really good with what you do, or you just need clout.
That's
You
facts.
you could
That's
be the worst at what you do if
and
you have
you
clout
have that pull behind
and
you.
popularity.
Yeah.
A lot of things you could get away with that for real.
Yes.
You know, so I had to have that conversation. I'm like, okay, Joshua, are you willing to put in that extra work that you're gonna stand out? You know, the cloud ain't coming. That's not, you can't ride on eyes at PK eyes as big 7, but they're seeing the Bahamas.
Uh-huh.
You're in a totally different world.
Yeah.
They don't know you.
Exactly. And of course, you know, I'm sure we've all visited or been there before. You know, the culture there, they are hustlers, they push, they
hustlers,
do
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And me, I'm
There's
natural.
like stuff that
Exactly.
you can't, or you wouldn't.
Exactly. Things
do.
they're willing to do, I'm not willing to do. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, do I want to go forward with this? Thought about it for a while. Actually, my first year, I wanted to come back to UB. I went to UB. I was so done. I filled out the application. I had picked classes.
What?
I had picked classes.
What?
And then I just woke up one Sunday morning, literally school opened on Wednesday. I'm like, Josh, you can't do this. You got to go back.
Wow.
You would be shortchanged. You got to go back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good, though.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm taking this big leap of faith or whatever. I get back to Jamaica. The same doubts, start creeping, and I'm like, okay. So I toughed it out. And then there's a mandatory class, no matter what area of media you're in, you have to take Journalism 101.
Okay.
So I took it or whatever. And my first assignment, because I was on the basketball team. I mean, all the Bahamians were, you know.
Ball is like,
Ball is life. So, and we were winning too. So, my journalism teacher, he told me, say, okay, Josh, yes, you have a game or whatever, but when you're done, I want you to write a story about however the game goes, whether y'all win, lose. I want you to interview your coach, interview teammates,
Right.
interview the
Okay.
opposing
Team.
players about it. So I remember we went to Kingston, we lost, you know. But I remember I say, okay, I wasn't thinking about it like, ooh,
Yeah.
I say, okay, I get homework to do. Might as well do the homework. So I interview people, whatever. And I wrote the story, whatever. I got a good grade. I'm like, I like this. I like this a lot. But I ignored it as like, no, I ain't no journalist. I ain't no writer. You know, that ain't for me.
Yeah.
So I pushed it aside, and then we had another assignment. We had to do a story where, I don't know if you remember, but the guys from school would normally go on campus. From campus, they would give like stuff to like a old folks home or like a boys home or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
School
clothes
impact type of thing.
Yes. So I remember I had to do a story for it, and then I wrote it or whatever, and they put it on the school stuff, and then the amount of positive feedback, not just like you did a good job, but like to be able to share that these people's lives were touched.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I could.
You felt something.
I feel a little something, you know. I don't like feel things. So I was like, I feel this, but I like this, but I
something
feel
like,
it. Like,
all
okay,
right.
Joshua, you can tell stories. English was sort of like your strong suit. I was never a math person or nothing like
Right,
that.
right, right.
So I'm like, okay, why not?
Right.
So COVID came, everybody got sent to him. We thought it was gonna be a short time, whatever.
Boy.
And I'd been wrestling with the idea of transferring because I always wanted to go to Oakwood University.
Okay.
Always wanted to go. And I'm like, God, give me a sign. and it just wasn't coming. And towards the end of that summer, we were locked down. Oakwood call was like, we'll waive the SAT. Just come. You don't have to take it. You don't have to, I'm like, you don't got to tell me twice. You know? So I went, and that's where I fully changed and bought into broadcast journalism.
Right.
And it's so interesting because you think you're running from something, your worlds collide. My journalism teacher, my main professor, not only were they Jamaican, but they were a Seventh-day Adventist, and they attended NCU as well.
Okay.
So they were able to relate to me and help pull me out that space where I was doubting myself and give me the proper training and tools that I need. So I finished, I graduated, and
Awesome. There you go.
now I'm employed at the leading news station in the Bahamas. I don't call the name. I won't call the name.
Hey.
But we are the leading news station, and it's been an absolute blast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, man. That's awesome to see that, the journey and the progression. So what is it like now being a young professional who's also a Christian out in a secular world, secular environment? How is there any challenges that you've experienced, or is it kind of smooth sailing? Like, what's that experience like?
It's a mixture of both. I would say that when I started, I sat down with management. They assured me they wouldn't put me in any compromising positions or anything that I would not be comfortable doing, or I would always have in terms of yes, no, and so far so good. That is that has not happened.
That's awesome.
I don't want to break your train of thought, but I like how you said you approached them. You didn't allow it to be like, because sometimes you had stories where people
They
go
wait until
they
they
wait
get
until
in
the moment,
situation.
right,
And they know, and they know. They I sat down. He's like, oh, so you 7 Adventist, because we had some of them working for us before.
Okay.
Right.
They
That's
know.
such an awkward
They know.
conversation to have
Yeah.
sometimes. Like when it's like, oh, yeah, we had some working there before, and now you got to go, oh, geez, what did they do?
What did they do?
And like,
What am I coming into?
and
Okay.
And also, clearing up. It's also an opportunity to, again, stereotypes. You break it up. I remember one day I was at the office, and let's just say ordered some lunch, and it had the king's meat, with Leviticus declared clean,
Mercy.
and they was like, "What? I thought y'all couldn't eat this." I'm like, y'all couldn't eat this. And another time there was a work function. It was on a Saturday evening, and we're like, "Oh, who coming?" I said, "Yeah, I'm coming." And then one of the other reporters like, I thought you had to be inside all day Saturday.
They
I'm like,
really
what?
think like you lock up in the house.
Yep.
I'm like, no.
Close the windows.
No.
Close the blinds and just.
Exactly, and just explaining that Sabbath is Friday sunset to Sabbath sunset.
Right.
And just those different things, clearing up mishaps and stuff. But I've never been pressured or
I love that. So, from the perspective of a friend, and because it's so great to hear you talk so passionately about your job. I could tell the listeners sometimes we hanging out and Josh, they're like, "Okay, I can be back in 5 minutes. I have to go write this story." You're like, "What?" But he loves it. He's clearly passionate about it. So I also, and it's very interesting as a young man and a young professional. I'd like for you to speak on, if you're comfortable, your progression of kind of your self-esteem in stepping into being the face, like a news anchor, because us in the Bahamas, we have come out of a time where like one station was the leading news station, and there was like maybe 3-4 main faces, and so these are the people you were used to telling you the news, and you knew all their names, and but now it's a little bit more diverse, but I would think it's still daunting in a way to be the face to the people.
From behind the camera to in front of the camera.
Yes.
Well, I'd say that the veteran journalists have been extremely supportive.
Okay.
Someone said, you're lucky. I always say I'm blessed, because it's rare that you have a 23-year-old that's coming out of school just put right in the newsroom.
Yeah.
And it's always encouraging to hear just those veterans surround you, and they teach you, and they not a spirit of jealousy. And our great sister Opal Roach, Pastor Roach's daughter.
Right.
I remember I saw it in the field somewhere, and she's like, "You're doing a good job." And I was like, "Oh, I doing a good job," that sort of thing. So when you hear stuff like that, and also people in the church, they say, "Hey, we see you on TV, you represent as well." It's awesome to hear, To be honest, I wasn't expecting that at first, I thought I would hear, "Well, why you don't come back and work for the conference?" And why you? I was expecting to hear that.
Oh man.
But I must say, like, from the conference level down. Like everyone has been
Support.
support, and I think that's really important. Not just with me, but any young professional you see in the church. You support them no matter what they do, because whether you support them or you like them or not, they still carry the name of Seventh-day Adventist with them, and they're going to support you and your church by extension. So why not show them some love? Why not support them?
Yes.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. And and hearing you talk about that, I think that's so necessary that for our listeners, those who may be older, to see the responsibility upon themselves to support the young people when they have these variant interests, that you can use your gifts and you can still represent the brand, because we had a show on that talking about, Seventh-day Adventists, the church, but religion, Christianity, the brand of, representing Christ wherever you may be. And so I that's powerful stuff, man. Now the whole Bahamas know your face.
I know it's the old Bahamas.
Old Bahamas. Don't reach the old Bahamas yet?
I know it's the old Bahamas now. I know it's the old Bahamas.
You getting there, man. You getting there. So we had a show and we talked about males, developing, becoming a man. How has being upfront and having to talk so much, what impact has that had on you as a young man now, coming into your own space and your own being? Like, what impact has that had on you, on your life?
Well, I think it goes back to childhood. First, before I even became about becoming a man, it's okay, breaking away from pastor's kid type of thing. No, I'm not going to be a pastor. No, I'm not going to do this. But I could still, be myself. Yeah. And I think it honestly started at Oakwood, and I didn't have a choice, because they run a program called Breath of Life.
Right.
Now it's directed by Pastor Snell, but for a long time it was Dr. Bird.
Right.
And there were things that were expected of us that you had to do. There's no time to be shy. A lot of people don't see what's going on behind the scenes during services. You just get a little graphic on the screen, and I'm on stage in front of hundreds of people, just rolling cables, doing little stuff, and you don't have no time to be shy in terms of that. And then coming home and being placed in front of the camera again, it was more so baptism by fire. I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then I started boiling over into other areas of my life here, and now I'm more sure of things. I say, no matter what it is, it could be going to the drive-thru and they don't get, no, I said I wanted this and that. Before that, it's like, oh, it's okay. I ain't really want it, but it's okay, So I think careers like journalism and other careers where you have to deal with people and you have to be upfront, you have to be sure about yourself. You interview some of these MPs and government officials, they will try to small you down. They will chew you up. And the way the newsroom looks, a lot of the reporters are becoming younger and younger and younger. All of us are in our 20s. So it teaches you to stand your ground. And if you could stand your ground with that,
go anywhere.
Yeah. Right.
Man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Because we talk a lot about, young people and developing their self-esteem and finding their place in the world. And so how you said it in a lot of ways, one sure way of doing that is by action, being involved, just doing it,
right?
And
that's just how I started out. Just poking around with Pastor Gordon and Phil and Pastor Brennan, and just wanting to be up in everything. And you show the interest and you show the passion that you will. One day they're gonna say, "Go on the camera, go do this, go plug that." One day is gonna come, and you have to be ready. Go up front,
He'll go up front.
Right.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, as we winding down, I want to ask you then, how then do you see ministry? Then you say you're not going to be a pastor, but then because you've been around, getting it from your father, who is a pastor, go into Christian schools, how has being around ministry for so long shaped your approach to ministry now?
Well, I'd say this, I remember, like I said, the support has been great from church. I remember this one person when I first started, some of our older brothers and sisters in Christ still don't grasp and understand. So she came to me, she say, well, you on that TV, you could have a little 5-minute segment where you share and you and I'm like, well, so I had to explain what news was. I'm like, this isn't
my show,
Adventist Spotlight, or this isn't lessons from the Word, which we do so well here at the conference. This isn't any of that. But when I first started, I remember they gave me a nickname in the office, especially the lady reporters. They call me Mr. Pow Pow.
Oh, what's that?
So the other side of reporting is that we have to deal with a lot of murder scenes, a lot of murder cases.
Oh.
And Giddy Ole excited me when I first came in. There was a I want to go, I want to do this, I want to do that. They're like, okay, go ahead. And up to this day, most murder cases, unfortunately, I'm on the scene. You know, I'm dealing with these instances in people. And one thing I started doing early on is that, and I don't know, you know, the old people say, you know, I was moved or I was, you know, again, me getting in touch with that feelings. I don't like talking about that. But you know, so what we normally do, we go, we gather the story, we talk to police, we get any information we have, and we leave. That's it. And then I started doing something really weird. I'd see a family member, be like, okay, can I pray with you?
Oh.
You know, and I remember the first lady, she looked at me a little strange, like get job done, go home. Yeah, I sad, but you know, you don't care. And then I started doing that continuously, and I'm like, okay. And then some of them, they're like, I really appreciate that. You know, no one does that.
Right.
And then sometimes they end up giving you details. They give you a little scoop you never even asked for. And I don't do it because, you know, I'm hoping to get that. But you know, it just goes to show that when you just in that little instance, when you bring God into it, because at the end of the day, that's still a human being.
Yes.
You know, they lost someone, and me as a news reporter, be like, hey, you want me to pray for you? Or sometimes I'll just pass by the house, couple days and hey, y'all good, whatever. It goes goes a long way, and I'm not no missionary, no preacher or whatever.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, and as I feel impressed when that time comes, you know, because he's still working on me, and then that's when I take that next step, be like, hey, you know, we having this service or whatever, you know. So that's something I try to do. I implement. I always some not every scene is the same, you know. Sometimes, unfortunately, some bad boys do die, and it can get hectic, and it can get. So you use your discretion,
right.
But when you deal with people's mothers and whatever,
Right,
or even if it's not there, you go back the next day and you follow up. You know, you don't just get the information and leave. You know, you pray with them because that's a person, and you know, that's my little way of, you know, being a little eager beaver for Christ, you know.
Man, I
love that.
That sounds good. That reminds me of this text in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and plans to give you hope in the future." And I see you working on your future because God has gifted you. And man, we are so excited to have you sharing with our listeners about the great things that's happening in your life, man. So you got our support.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I know
Awesome.
that. I know that. Absolutely. I know that.
Thank you so much for coming on, Josh. It was
No
a pleasure
problem.
to have you.
Yes.
And guys, if you want to continue hearing us, you can do that every Tuesday at 6 every Tuesday here on Word SBC 88.3 FM from 6 to 6:30 with reruns on Wednesdays and Fridays from 3:30 to 4. We're also on YouTube at South Bahamas Conference YouTube channel. You can watch us there. And we're also on Rev Channel 988.
Yes.
So that's all for this evening. Thank you for listening. I'm Tyla.
And I'm Pastah Nassah.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.
All right, guys.
Young and Trending was brought to you by the Bahamas Adventist Book and Nutrition Center, located on Tonic Williams Darling Highway.